So let us quickly revise what we did in the last class. So what we did was SQC. SQC is applicable to what? Audit, assurance, review, as well as related service. Whereas SA220 is applicable only and only to what? Audit. Now, SQC talks about six elements. First is leadership and quality, ethical requirement, acceptance and continuous, human resources, engagement, performance, and monitoring. Now, when we talk about leadership, who is going to have leadership responsibility? When we used to talk about SF 220, engagement partner has the leadership. But here the engagement partner cannot have because it is applicable to the whole firm. So who will have the leadership responsibility? The firm will have. Okay, so the firm will have the leadership responsibility. In the firm, we will identify the CEO or the managing partner who will have this particular responsibility. Now the firm assigns the management responsibility so that commercial consideration should not override the quality. There should be proper performance evaluation, compensation, and promotion. We should have resources to develop, document, and support the quality control. Now, for ethical requirements, there are ethical requirements issued by the Code of Ethics by FICM. There are five ethical requirements: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due confidentiality, and professional behavior. For this, there are certain fundamental principles. Firstly, actions of the leadership, spreading awareness, monitoring, and a process of dealing with non-compliance. In case if you don't write in this exam, it is completely okay, so you can mark this out. Next, independence is required for all the engagement. But if you recollect, we had added a note there that it is required only where we give assurance, wherever we are giving an opinion, wherever we are not expressing an opinion, is independence required? No. The firm should establish policies and procedures to provide reasonable assurance that the firm, its personnel, and experts contracted in the firm maintain independence. So, firstly, what I will do is I will communicate independence requirement to all the personnel. I will identify which circumstances and relationships create threats to independence. If you recollect, in the last lecture, we have discussed what are the threats to independence: self-interest, self-review, advocacy, familiarity, and intimidation. We will try to eliminate those threats or apply safeguard. However, if it is not possible to eliminate or apply safeguard, then in that case, we will withdraw. Next, all the breaches of independence should promptly be notified to the firm so that they can take appropriate action. At least annually, we should obtain a written confirmation from all the personnel. SQC1 pays special attention to which threat? Familiarity threat. The same senior personnel may have a long association for a prolonged period, so hence we should have established criteria to apply the safeguard. For this, what we can apply is internal rotation. But for this, we need to ascertain two things: whether public interest is involved. For example, if it is a closely held private limited company, then it is okay if we have a long association. And also, what is the length of service? If he has been there only for 2 years, then he can continue. But however, is there for 5 years, 10 years, then there should be a rotation. For acceptance and continuance, we always focus on CSI. What is CSI? Competence, compliance with the ethical requirement, S is significant matters, and the lastly, I is integrity. Now, in this case, we will not talk about significant matters. We will talk only about what C and I. What is C? Competence, C2, compliance with ethical requirement, and integrity. Now, firstly, when we talk about integrity of the principle, how do we come to know about the integrity of the principal order? What is the business application of the principal order? Then client's nature, client's operation, including the business practices. What is the attitude of the principal owners? Then aggressive interpretation of the accounting standard. They want to apply such accounting standard because of which the financial statement will be created. What is the control environment? What are the ethical values of the management? What is the ethical behavior of the management? There's somewhere I want to try to keep the fees of the auditor low, then it shows that there is no integrity. There is a limitation on scope imposed by them. There are a lot of money laundering and other criminal activities against them. The reasons for the proposed amendment of the firm and the non-reappointment of the previous one. So I have the appointing and they are not reappointing the previous one. Next, when we want to check the computers, we want to see whether we have knowledge of the relevant industry or the subject matters, whether we have knowledge of the relevant regulatory requirement. So, for example, if we are doing an audit of bank, Do we know LFAR, CRR, SLR? Last time we gave an example of CRR and SLR. Next, the firm has sufficient personnel with the necessary capabilities. If we experts, are the experts actually available? Individually meet the exact criteria and eligibility requirements to perform the quality control required. Lastly, the firm should be able to complete the engagement within the reporting timelines. So, in India, हम batch में English वाले English time में था last time SPC वाली चालू था ये कब गया next if there is a conflict between the firm and the client they should resolve it before accepting but however if that information is known to us after accepting then we may decline or we may withdraw. In this particular case, we have to consider the professional and the legal responsibilities. Do we need to inform to the persons who made our appointment or to the regulatory authorities? Who can be the regulatory authorities? Central government, ROC, SEBI. What is the possibility of withdrawing from the engagement and the client negotiation? Now, policies for withdrawal. If we are withdrawing, firstly, we need to communicate with the management and push-up withdrawals. We need to give them the reasons why are we withdrawing. If the firm determines withdrawal is appropriate, then we need to again give the reasons. We need to comply with the legal and the regulatory limits. So if you recollect, whenever we used to resign, we had to fill ADT we have to give it to the company, ROC and CAG in case of a government company. Next, we need to document the issues, consultation, and the conclusion. Human resource, the firm should assign responsibility for each engagement to the engagement partner. So here, firm is assigning this responsibility to engagement partner. See, leadership responsibility was with the firm, but for human resource, the firm is assigning this responsibility to the engagement partner. That for your particular assignment, you choose the team that you want. The firm should establish policies and procedures requiring that identity and role of the engagement partners are communicated so they know what is the role of the engagement partner. Secondly, the engagement partner should have those capabilities, competence and authority and time to perform the role. So he should be in a position that he can, select a team. He has sufficient time to select the team. And the responsibility of the engagement partner are clearly defined and communicated to that partner. A lot of times, we need to see whether our team has the adequate competence and skill, and we need to prove them that as we need to provide them training. Engagement performance, consistency of the quality engagement is achieved through briefing of the engagement teams of their objectives. Secondly, the standard, the processes of the engagement, supervision and training, methods of reviewing the work, and appropriate documentation. Wherever the matters are difficult or contentious, that is whenever we have difference of opinion, we can take consultation. We can take consultations from members within the firm. We can also take consultations from members from people outside the firm. Then we need to have an engagement quality control review. So the engagement quality control review should be objective, that is unbiased. Next, the quality control review is mandatory for the financial statement of each entities listed. However, for any other entity, if they wish to do it voluntarily, they can do it. The engagement quality control review for audit or financial statement of listed entity includes considering what firm's independence, what were the significant risks, what were the judgments made by them, materiality, whether they have taken appropriate consultation, whether they have evaluated the corrected as well as the uncorrected misstatements. So for misstatements, we discussed them, we aggregate all the misstatements, whichever are clearly trivial, we will exclude them. Clearly trivial means which are insignificant. The other misstatement we see how many misstatements are corrected, how many are uncorrected. If the uncorrected is material, then we may have to modify the but whether the working papers reflect the work that we have done, appropriateness of the report that we have issued. Engagement quality control reviewer is a partner or other person in the firm who should be a member of ICI. So technically, he should also be a chartered accountant. He should have competence and capability to act as an engagement partner. So he should also be independent. He should be a chartered accountant. who is qualified to be appointed, only then he can be a reviewer. Engagement quality control reviewer for audit of financial statement of listed entity is an individual with sufficient and appropriate experience and therefore participation in the engagement make decisions of the engagement team to be avoided. Wherever they need consultation, they will obtain the consultation. Reviewer's objectivity has to be maintained. Yet lastly, the firm's policy provide replacement of the engagement quality control reviewer, where the ability to perform objective review will be expected. So though we have appointed a reviewer, now we think so the reviewer is not objective and biased, then in that case we can replace. If there is difference of opinion, they will have to resolve it. But the firm will themselves develop a procedure, internal procedure, with the help of which they can resolve the difference of opinion. Then point number D was important. Though we will discuss this in detail when we go to SAP 130. We have to make an assembly of the documentation within how many days? 60 days from the date of the audit statement. In case if there are two audit reports, for example, Deutsche Bank had one financial statement as per India's, one financial statement as per German. So do we have one audit report or two audit report? So in this case, 60 days will be counted from the report that has been given. Because in this case, we will consider this as two different things. Then we need to have confidentiality, safe custody, integrity. Integrity means no loss of data, accessibility, and retrievability of the engagement documentation. What all will be document? What were the firm's policies were the political review? It was completed. The engagement political review completed before the review. If we look at if the review was not done, we cannot date our audit report. We have discussed it with reviewer is not aware of the result. Unless specified by law and regulation, engagement documentation is property of the. So we have discussed when we provide this to the third party, we cannot give this to the third party. But if the client asks for the same, whether to give it to the client or not is on the discretion of the auditor. So, but however, to the third party, we will never provide this documentation. Next, we need to retain this for how many years? 7 years. But 7 years, in case if there is group company, in subsidiary holding, we will consider the 7 years from the date at which we have given a report on the holding. Let us say for subsidiary, we gave a report on 15th July. For holding, we gave on 15th of August. We'll consider 7 years, not 15th of August. Lastly, we need to monitor whether we have relevant, adequate, and operating effectiveness in complying with the purpose. Such policies and procedures should be ongoing consideration in firm's evaluation, including a periodic inspection of the selection of completed. The quality control engagement has to be monitored, taking into the following factors, deciding whether the quality control system of the firm has been appropriately designed and implemented, examining whether new developments in the professional and the legal regulatory requirement have reflected. For example, for 143.3, we discussed there is a new requirement of reporting on audit trail. So we need to check whether our report reflects the same, whether we have reported on the same. Conducting monitoring, entrusting the responsibility of monitoring to a partner or other person with sufficient and appropriate experience. In case if there are any allegations, we need to consider those allegations as well. We need to consider the remedial action for personnel who did not conform to the quality. And lastly, we will take actions for non-compliance with the first quality. We have also started with the question mark. We completed all the questions. Start करते हैं start कर आगे बढ़ते हैं अरे इधर और ठीक है चलो ये हमारी पबजी ठीक है स्टार्ट कर दो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 बीएवी You may want to difference of opinion, जो है इसको कैसे end करेंगे? How will you end the difference of opinion? We have to have our own firm's policies. Okay, we will resolve the difference of opinion as per the firm's internal policies. We will not give the report unless the matter is resolved. The recommendation of the EQCR are not accepted by the engagement partner and the matter is not resolved to the reviewer's satisfaction. Matter should be resolved by following the established procedure of the firm by consulting with another practitioner or a firm or professional or regulatory body. The audit report should be issued only after resolution of the matter. So what policies can we have in such cases? We will firstly identify, for example, if we ever have a difference of opinion, let us say, for example, we are working with we are in EY. So we will say, okay, for example, RN company is registered with EY, SN company is registered with EY. For example, if we are RN company, in this particular policies, we will write that in case if there is a difference of opinion between engagement partner and the reviewer, then we will consult SN company. So we will always write in the policies and the procedure that if there is an internal conflict, then whom are we going to go? Okay, so this was question number 8. Next.
ABC and Associate Chartered Accountant has a policy to express clients wherein risk evaluation is conducted with respect to company and promoter. XYZ Limited approached ABC and Associate. Promoter of XYZ Limited is close associate and family member of Mr. A, managing partner of ABC Associates. XYZ is in new in the previous of year of the certain inquiries from the regulatory authorities in relation to certain matters. The existing auditor of XYZ Limited has resigned and had created a casual vacancy. XYZ Limited is ready to offer 25% of the 25% more than the existing fees and approach ABC and associate for appointment as an auditor. Mr. A has a strong recommendation to form to accept the order. Where what is your understanding of functioning of the tone at the top of the firm ABC and Associate Chartered Accountant? What are the considerations one should exercise to uphold the quality of the firm?
So which answer will write here? Very good. Consala, we'll write your integrity. So whenever we accept or continue, see, firstly, how can you identify this? See, you are supposed to accept. And when you're supposed to accept out of the 6 elements, which is the element that you consider, what are you supposed to consider before accepting and continuing? So here in this case, you have slight doubt about the integrity because the previous auditor has been removed. So hence in this case, we will have to consider the integrity. So which point we will write here? Integrity. Okay, so write for answer integrity. Can someone tell me the page number there?
Four, I guess.
Page number 4. Okay, sure. Next, question number 10.
DSS and associated with the partnership firm of chartered accountants, which was established 5 years back. The firm was offering only advisory services and the business. However, after audit rotation and advent of GST, firms see lot of potential in these areas also and started looking for opportunities in these areas. These services being assurance in nature, the firm required some internal restructuring and set up some policies and procedures for compliance year on year. The firm started getting new plans for this new services and is now looking to obtain such information as it considers necessary in the circumstances before accepting an engagement with the new plan. When deciding whether to continue an existing engagement and when considering acceptance of a new engagement with an existing plan. Where issues have been identified and the firm decides to accept or continue the client relationship or a specific engagement, it has been setting up a process to document how the issues are resolved. The firm is now looking to work with only selected clients which are in line with the policies of the firm. The firm understands that the extent of knowledge it will have regarding the integrity of a client will grow within the context of an ongoing relationship with that client. With regard to integrity of a client, you are required to use some examples of the matters to be considered by the firm as per the requirements of exclusive.
Yes, so again, the answer will be the Same, we'll again have to write all the points of integrity. So again, integrity, page number 4. Next, question number 11.
You are an audit senior working for the firm Mora and Company. You are currently carrying out the audit of Wilson Limited, a manufacturer of safe waste paper mills. You are unhappy with Wilson Limited inventory valuation policy and have raised the issue several times with the audit manager. Yes, yes, with the client for a number of years and does not see what you are making an objection about. He has refused to meet you inside to discuss those issues as the audit manager has dealt with Wilson Limited for several years. The other partner has decided to keep the audit of Wilson Limited in his capital and comment on the situation of the firm.
So what is the answer we will write here? Familiarity, very good. So in case of integrity, independence, SQC1 used to focus on what? Familiarity. When your senior partner has been there for a long association. So in case we need to focus what should be the procedure, we can have internal rotation. But however, to have such procedure, we need to consider two things. What is the public interest and what is the period of the engagement? So again, it was about page number 4. What's the page? Okay, page number 3. So we'll have to write about familiarity threat from the ethical requirements. So page number 3. So यहाँ पे भी एक बार चीज के बारे में क्रॉस रेफरेंस करूँगा. Refer question number 11 to 12. 11. Next. So we need to have policies and procedures to consider the complaints. What are the allegations of the non-compliances? So as per SQC1, we need to have policies to deal with the complaints of the firms that fail to comply with the professional standards, allegations of the non-compliance of the firm. As a part of the process, the firm establishes channel for a firm personnel to raise any concerns in the matter that come forward without the fear of reprisal. The firm investigates such complaints and allegations in accordance with the established policies in the procedure. So investigation is supervised by the partner with sufficient and appropriate experience. ये वाला part भी पूरा अपने ऊपर किया हुआ है. This is part of our monitoring. So this is part of our monitoring. Okay, so this was question number 12. Next.
At the end of the meeting, Mr. J explained that review responsibilities to three of the management team members who have the most experience of management work. The reviewing about performing by the less experienced team members, by reviewing our performing by the less experienced members of the management team. What shall be considered considerations of the regulation?
That's all a point. Actually, clear about which point will you like? और कौन सा आएगा? SQC ones का कौन सा? Leadership. So in case of leadership, ये वाला पॉइंट आएगा। कौन से पॉइंट है? One is leadership. Leadership is talking about what? Okay, who is going to have responsibility? We need to talk about the commercial consideration. Where ethical requirements, the question, is it relating to ethical requirements? No. Then acceptance and continuance के बारे में बात कर रहा है क्या? नहीं। फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट वाला पार्ट क्या है? नेक्स्ट ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। पढ़ो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स में क्या है? Do one thing, सब everyone है ना, सिर्फ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स एंगेजमेंट परफॉर्मेंस, ठीक है, उसमें एंगेजमेंट क्वालिटी कंट्रोल रिव्यू एक बार सिर्फ इसके ऊपर से लिखो। डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन मतलब जहां से ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है उसके सिर्फ मेन पॉइंट्स देखो, सो यू कैन आंसर इट करेक्टली व्हाटएवर इज द क्वेश्चन। तो सब मोर और लेस सारे क्वेश्चन इसी के ऊपर है। So the question is talking about what? Review. The question is talking about what? Review. So see, your Jack and Company Chartered Accountant was appointed as statutory auditors of Falcon, ensuring that the compliance with the relevant provision of the Companies Act. Jay was the engagement partner of the officer, and prior to the commencement of the audit, Jay had called for a meeting of the engagement team to direct and assign them their responsibility. At the end of the meeting, Jay assigned a review responsibilities to two of the engagement teams who are most experienced for reviewing the work performed by less experienced team. While reviewing the work performed by less experienced team, what are the considerations to be taken by the reviewer? So though they have written a lot of points which are not there in review, but in examination, in case if you cannot think of such points, you will have to write whatever is written in the review in exclusive. So here they have mixed a lot of points. They have taken few points from the leadership. They have taken few points from him. So here the work performed in accordance with the professional standards. So I'll see my team has performed the work in accordance with the professional standard. Second, significant matters have been raised without the fear of reprisal. Appropriate consultation has been taken. There is a need to revise the NPE of the work performed. The work performed supports the conclusion reached and the evidence is signed and the objectives of the engagement procedures have been achieved. Okay, so this one particular question, you will read the answer from here. Just mark this question in 30. So all the questions you may not refer it. Next, HK and Company Chartered Accountants. इसका क्या होगा? The answer. Same as above, what we studied about, the answer will be the same. Next, here you can write same as above. So answer is suggested since they have added few more points, we have copy pasted from there, but you can memorize the answer that you have studied about. Next, question number 15. Answer में. But second वाला question का, what are the aspects? Again, same as above, but again, in this case, will his responsibility be reduced? No, so his responsibility will not be reduced. So for this, answer will be again same as above. We get the same points we can write. Next, question number 16. So what are the issues that we need to consider? First, we need to discuss with the management and those shared with governance. If we still think so, we are going to withdraw, then we will give them the reasons. Then we'll also need to comply with the legal and the regulatory requirements. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आंसर कौन सा आ जाएगा? विड्रॉल. पेज नंबर पे बता सकते हैं? कौन सा? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 70. नाउ अभी यहाँ पे क्या वर्ड यूज किया गया है? ऑडिट. ठीक है, सो इवन इफ दे डोंट राइट एस ए 220, I mean, this should click you that they are going to ask you about what SA 220. Here you will not have to write SQC. ठीक है, चलो आगे.
That applies to the engagement files were also reviewed by the engagement quality control. Except the independence assessment documentation, engagement partner was of the view that matters related to independence assessment are the responsibility of engagement partner and not engagement quality control reviewer. Engagement quality control reviewer objected to this and refused to sign off the documentation. Please advise such.
So here what they are trying to say is engagement files were also reviewed by the engagement quality reviewer except independence assessment. Why the engagement partner of the view that independent assessment is responsibility of engagement partner only and it is not the responsibility of the reviewer. So whose responsibility is this? Is this the responsibility of reviewer or the engagement partner? It is the responsibility of the engagement partner. He will have to identify relationship and circumstances which create threats to independence. He will try to apply what? Try to eliminate the threats or apply safeguards. If it is not possible, he will take the appropriate action. So here, as per SA 220, the engagement partner shall form a conclusion with compliance with the independence. So obtain relevant information of the firm where applicable network firm, circumstances and relationship create threats to independence, evaluation or information of the identified breach, take appropriate action. So for audit of listed entities, engagement quality control reviewer and performing the quality reviewer should also consider among other things, evaluation of the firm's independence. Hence, the view of the engagement partner that matters to the independence assessment of his engagement and not the EQCR is not correct. So though he will have the responsibility, but in case of listed company, always EQCR will review everything that we are doing. Hence, his contention is not correct. Okay, so here they have already stated it is a listed entity. Had it not been a listed entity, then we could have said, since it is volatile, the engagement partner can say so. Next, question number 18. Why you should have reviewed the work. In case if it does not review the procedures, he cannot express an opinion. So here we will talk about what? Review. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे कौन से वाले प्रोसेसेस आ जाएंगे? रिव्यू वाले. Next, question number 18 को mark this FAQ. This was a frequently asked question. So see, financial year got completed on which date? The audit report was dated on which date? 12th. But however, the review got completed on 15th. If you recollect, we cannot date our report unless what is completed? Review. So we'll have to write that in this case, we cannot date. So firstly, we need to, what were the responsibilities of the engagement partner, determine whether the viewer is appointed, discuss the significant matters with him, and not date the report unless what is completed. Next question number 20. What is
This limited manufacturing stands was for and model of manufacturing of PV in December 2023. But there was shortage of engineering and manpower to replace the requirements of PV goods. This limited another manufacturing units and limits the purchase of the unit. That limited was interested in the sale of the units for the wheel units. This limited acquired 95% share of that unit. Any management of that limited proposal of limited entity was from the complete of the limited and will be under that limited. And she adopted the assignment without considering information whether the conclusions leads regarding the existence and convenience of client relationships and audit engagements are appropriate. Comment with respect to appropriate standards or auditing what type of information assist the engagement partner in implementing the conclusions reached regarding the acceptance and convenience of client relationships and audit engagements are appropriate or not.
so acceptance and convenience? What are the points we will check? CSI. What is C? We are competent. We comply with the ethical requirement, significant matters, and lastly, integrity. Okay, so these are the points that we will have to consider in the acceptance. Okay, so with this we are finally done with what? Independence. No, because in case of review, the engagement quality control reviewer has to review everything. And independence is also one of the ethical requirements. We have to review that as well. Actually, see, it is internal monitoring only. But he has to make sure that he verifies everything. So the engagement partner cannot say that he will not verify this particular. Which means the reviewer, no, not necessarily. He can be any employee also. He can be an external party also. He can be anyone. Not necessarily a partner. So for example, if I am a sole proprietorship, I don't have a partner, so it does not mean I cannot do it properly. In that case, any person from my team who is competent enough, has adequate skill, knowledge, and experience can do it. We can also do that. Provided he should be a member of the HEQ, he should be qualified to be an engagement partner. That is, he should be a chartered partner. So with this, we are done with what? Chapter number 1, that is SQ 20 and SQC.